Hey folks, we're back. It's Thursday night. It's 6:30 p.m. and this is the Fat Thor Podcast. I'm Andy Gunnin.
And I'm Rick Wayne, and this is your Halloween edition of the Fat Thor Podcast this week.
That is correct. This is the Halloween edition of the Fat Thor Podcast. All of October, we've been trying to lead up to this, and this is it, the pinnacle, the big one.
The pinnacle, the pentagram. The pentagram.
Exactly. But first, let's get to our sponsors real quick before we dive into this amazing show. Rick?
First one I want to say really quick. Go spend your money at Killer Finds in Hiram, Georgia. Comics, records, video game, all kind of really cool collectibles. They buy, sell, and trade. They're at 4215 Jimmy Lee Smith Parkway in Hiram, Georgia. Right there next to Academy Sports. You can't miss them. Go like their page on Facebook. And I've said it once, and I'll say it 100 more times. Make the trip out to Hiram, Georgia, and go see Killer Finds. Family-owned business. Great guys. Killer Finds.
That's right. And we also, for all you folks in the Atlanta metro area, we had some bad storms all across the East Coast, down from Louisiana, all across. Our hearts and prayers are for those who are out there struggling. But if you're in the Atlanta metro area, you got storm damage, wind damage, roof damage, or just looking for new roof gutters, windows, or anything like that, call Falcon Exteriors at 678-783-0123. They're locally owned and operated here in Peachtree City, Georgia. Tell them you heard it from Andy and Rick at Power 108.9, and they will take care of you. So, Rick.
And the Fat Thor Podcast.
Yeah. And the Fat Thor Podcast. That is right. Yeah. So, Rick, you want to introduce our guest? Let's just go ahead and because, we've got a lot to cover tonight.
I would love to. I'm so excited to present our guest. This guy's a good friend of mine. I've known this guy for almost 15 years. And he's never done one of my podcasts. I've been bugging him for years to come on Pod Vomit. He wouldn't do it. We've remained friends. This is a good guy, man. I love how he makes his living. It's definitely a little bit on the outside of the fringe of doing stuff. He runs a company called Serial Killers Inc. Murderabilia. He sells stuff that serial killers is owned or drawn or autographs, all kind of really crazy stuff like that. I love that kind of idea. I'm real fascinated with serial killers and horror and everything. That's why he and I became friends. He's got a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff to sell right here at Halloween. It's my pleasure to introduce my good friend on the Fat Thor Podcast, Eric Holler.
Hey, welcome to the show, Eric.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's going on, Eric?
Hey, how's it going, Eric? Thanks so much for coming on.
It's long overdue, Rick. Very long overdue.
So let me.
Told him you don't do podcasts.
I do now.
I busted your podcast cherry, sir.
Hey.
Hey, folks, don't forget you can comment and ask questions during the show. Just give StreamYard permission. Share the show. Please, please, please. But you can ask questions to us or Eric and the lovely, I think, Sophia sitting next to him.
Yeah, and we're going to get to her, too. Don't worry.
We're going to get to her as well.
Yeah, we got a two for tonight. It's like getting 2 pieces of candy in your Halloween bag tonight.
Exactly. So, Eric, tell us about yourself. Tell us about everything, the crazy weird stuff that you do.
Oh, God. Well, I started writing a guy named Richard Ramirez, who is a Night Stalker. He's dead now. Was a very infamous serial killer. Everybody's heard of the Night Stalker. I started writing him in the mid-'90s, and he had gotten back with me and propositioned me to be his art dealer. And I was a young kid at that time. I didn't know shit. There was no such thing as memorabilia back then. This is 96, 97. I was like, yeah, sure. Send me some artwork, and he sent me a package of artwork. I put it up on eBay because eBay was all the rage back in the 90s, and it sold really quick. And made a lot of money from that first packet. He kept sending me more artwork over the years. I started connecting with other infamous serial killers. Wayne Williams, the alleged Atlanta child murderer, right there in your neck of the woods, Rick.
That's right. I used to work right down the street from where they arrested him.
Yeah. It was at DeKalb County.
Yep.
Well, they arrested him on James Jackson Parkway in Atlanta going into Cobb. I worked on the other side of that bridge, like 0.2 of a mile away. So, yep.
So I got in good with him. I got in good with David Berkowitz, the infamous Son of Sam, and these guys, started sending me artwork, and I would put it up on eBay, and I mean, it sold like literally hotcakes. It sold really fast for a lot of money, and fast forward 25 years later, and I've been doing this for 25 years. I've got my own website. I've done quite a few TV shows, a lot of media. No podcasts, and it was something that I started doing in the '90s just to write these guys to kind of get inside their mind. I had no idea it was gonna balloon into a career,
right?
And here I am 25 years later and still talking about it.
Now this is your website, Silly. Yeah, the Fat Thor Pod. Now this is your website, Killers Inc. Correct?
Serial
Killers Inc. So here's the website that you can check out all his stuff. What's on this thing? I haven't really dove deep in here. I started playing around with it.
Well, that's just the main index page. There's actually an e-commerce store that we have where, I've sold anything from John Wayne Gacy original paintings that Gacy has done to signed photographs from Charles Manson, Richard Ramirez artwork that we'll get into a little later that kind of ties into how her and I originally met.
Cool.
Letters from David Berkowitz, Son of Sam. I've had Ted Bundy items, Dahmer items over the years. Henry Lee Lucas, Otis Toole. I could just sit here and just name.
Now, where do you get this, or what's your source, or how, don't give away your secrets, but just like how do you kind of get into that?
Yeah, how did you build it from Richard Ramirez artwork into what you did? And did you have a big interest in serial killers prior to this?
Well, like I said, when Richard, sent me that artwork and I saw there was, honestly money to be made, I started propositioning the other guys, Wayne Williams, David Berkowitz, and so forth, and so on and on. And, over the years, like I said, it's been 25 years, so my name got around. I've done all these TV shows and media. So I for a while there, and not so much now, I kind of put it on the back burner, but, I was getting letters from these serial killers where they were getting my address and contacting me first to sell their stuff. So
really,
it was just word of mouth. The media was a very big help in getting my name out there, and all these infamous bad guys in prison. If you ask them, hey, who's Ake Holler? They will tell you that's the guy that sells stuff that I draw.
Right.
So and I've gone to visit and hang out with a couple of them. At the visitation parks, a couple of guys in Florida. I would go when I was down there. When I lived down there, I'm not in Florida anymore, but I would go and hang out with them on the weekends. Go to Florida Death Row Visiting Park and hang out with the Salerno Strangler and drink Pepsis and hear his crazy stories. A guy named Rod Farrell, who is the Vampire Clan killer up in Kentucky. I hung out with him, many weekends, and just made a career out of something that I started doing in the '90s, just to fucking do it, to try to get in their heads, because originally, because it takes a fucked up mind to want to go out and kill and eat 30 people. So I kind of wanted to get in their minds, right? So I wanted to get in their minds and just say, okay, why did this guy do this? And I had originally wanted to, maybe one day I'll write a book. But it turned into the marketing and the memorabilia aspect, and I left the book idea behind years and years and years ago.
Oh, I think you have even a better book today, sir.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That would be a lot of work. It would be work to write a book. It would be awesome. I've got a million awesome, crazy stories. A lot of them that I'll share with you guys. But it's just the whole process of writing a book, that would fucking kill me.
Dude, they've got people now. You just talking to a recorder, and then you hand it to them, and then they type it out. So I would do that because that would be a book I would grab in a heartbeat.
No, this is what we'll do. We'll put a book on tape. I'll come to.
That's what I was gonna say.
We'll just sit and record and talk and hang out. And I'll just get this whole thing, and I will get you even more famous than you already are, Eric.
Get me on the New York bestsellers list. Hey.
Yes, exactly.
Never say, it's like Kiss used to say, every place is the Garden we're playing, so we can do Madison Square Garden. I promise.
There you go. Hell yeah, let's do it.
So you're talking stories. So what's the strangest one or most interesting one that you have in your, or I mean, all of them, we could probably sit here for hours. So what's your top one that you have or that you experienced, I guess?
Yeah, I don't think I really have a top one. I've got some crazy categories. Okay, it was a thing a couple of years ago where the infamous girls, because there are some crazy, whacked out, infamous chick serial killers.
Right.
Or infamous killers. And I had a thing a couple of years ago where I was getting them to send me their panties, signing their panties, and putting the panties online for sale. And they would sell. There were panty sniffers that would go on the website and buy this infamous killer's panties. So that was a crazy little trend that I went through. I also had a thing where I was having people like, okay, there's a guy named Anthony Sowell who's called the Cleveland Strangler. He was arrested 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I had an associate in Ohio, in Cleveland, where he's from, and I had an associate because the story with this guy was, he was killing these crack whores. He was burying them in his backyard. Well, I had an associate go to his backyard and give me like baggies full of soil and dirt. And I was selling that soil and dirt on the website, and it sold.
My gosh!
People wanted soil from basically a fresh grave. I mean, he had just been arrested.
My gosh!
You could have just went in your backyard and just sent them dirt.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that. But yeah, and I had soil from Ed Gein's grave.
Really?
Yeah, I had a friend go up there and start digging soil from around his marker and put it in baggies and shipping it to me, and that sold. I wish I had some more of that. Yeah.
Gosh, Eric.
People buy the strangest things.
Dude, when you bring, me and my buddy always joke around, and when somebody else say something, we'll like bust. I was like, well, don't become an Ed Gein, and people are like, who's that? I'm like, you don't know who.
Wow.
You don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Making belts out of people's nipples.
Yeah. And I was just talking to her the other day. People, because I've got him on my arm, and people will, who's that on your arm? And instead of going through a long story with a chick at a checkout, I'll just tell them that's my grandfather. He was a grave robber, and leave it at that. Let them think on it. I'll say his name is Ed Gein. That's my grandfather. Look him up. You'll find him.
Yeah. and hey, the beautiful thing about that is the next time you go in that store and just try to grab a pack of smokes and a sixer, they're not going to sit there and ask you a bunch of dumbass questions. You can get the hell out of there quick.
They're going to be terrified. They're going to be like, there's that creepy guy.
Just get him through.
Dude, but I mean, literally, this has happened in the last 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5 times. We can't be out eating at a restaurant with somebody coming up and either we're wearing serial killer shirts or it's about the serial killer tattoos. It comes up constantly.
Oh wow!
Now I know you have a Gacy print tattooed on you. You have
Zodiac.
I know you got I know you got the Zodiac. I know you got Gein. I know you just recently got the Ramirez prison number tattooed on your wrist. That was fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
And
I've got off topic though. She did the Iron Maiden Eddie Killers.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, it is such a badass piece. She is so talented.
It really is. It's the Killers album cover from Iron Maiden's second album, Killers. It is so rad.
But a couple of years ago, I got Gacy on me. I got the Zodiac Killer, and she put Ramirez's prison number. And I guarantee I'm going to be places, and they're going to be like, well, his prison number was E37101. So I guarantee it's gonna happen. I'm going to be somewhere buying cigarettes, and they're going to be like, what's that number on you? And I'll just tell them, I'll just make up some crazy shit. I was like, wow, dude. I was actually in a concentration camp. Here's my number.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah,
I would have done the same thing. And I was like, did I go here?
It'll happen.
You know what? You could just tell some dumbass and they'd believe it and go, well, I was the producer on this Van Halen album. And they'd be like, I had that album. Go. Get out of here.
Dude, man, we used to, Rick and I, we've known each other 15,
About
16 years from the
15?
MySpace days.
Yeah.
We would sit there and just talk serial killers and music, just night after night after night. You know, that was our thing. Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, Kiss, and serial killers.
Right.
Priest,
Nice.
Motorhead. How much you hate
Priest, yeah.
Pantera?
Oh God, yeah, I will still troll Pantera stuff on Facebook.
I know. I
Dude,
remember originally I would be like, damn man, I gotta convert him, and then it was like, he's just fucking around. He don't
it's not happening.
Not happening anytime soon.
But,
So is there anybody, Eric, that you haven't got an opportunity to meet, like say for instance like Dennis Rader or somebody like that, or is there somebody that's not living that you wish you would have gotten to do business with?
I'll tell you a Dennis Rader story here in a second, but back to your question, and remind me if I forget, because it's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
No, I mean, Charles Manson never really had anything to do with me. I don't know why. I've always sold his items, but I would get his items from third-party, dealers and collectors. But I tried for years and years and years to get in good with Manson. And I don't know if it was just politics as far as other memorabilia dealers, because a lot of these other dealers in this business will talk shit about different dealers to other inmates.
Really?
So I don't know if it was the case that somebody got to Manson and was like, dude, do not do business with this guy, or Manson was just a crazy fuck, and I'm just one of the people that he didn't want to deal with,
Right.
But Manson is the guy that I had always wanted to get in good with, and it just never happened.
Right.
Let me tell you, Eric. Well, hold on, Eric. You could have made a great marketing ploy with that. It's like, Manson's afraid of me.
I can still do that, even though he's dead.
Right.
But
He's not going to argue.
But Dennis Rader, the BTK killer that you mentioned, this goes back 10 years or so ago. I had written him a letter, and didn't hear anything from him for a couple of weeks. And you probably know this story, Rick. I don't know because I've told it quite a few times on social media, but if not, here it is. I'd written him a letter. I didn't hear from him for a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks later, I'd say a month later, after I had written him, I got a knock at the door. I answered the door, and there's two guys at the door. One guy in a suit, which was the good cop, and one guy in jeans and t-shirt, which was the bad cop. Dennis Rader turned my letter into them and told them that I could be a future serial killer. The letter I had written them, it was a crazy fucking letter.
What?
I would back in the day. I would get like wasted on Xanax, right? And write and be out of my mind and just write crazy shit. So this letter that I had written. Rader and the cop had it was Homeland Security. They had the letter right there with him. I had talked about choking chicks out while fucking chicks and bathing in their blood and all kind of just crazy shit. So yeah, he turned my letter over to the fucking feds. They came, paid me a visit, sat with me. I invited them in. I was like, yeah, come in. I don't have anything to hide. So they sat with me for an hour, and they left satisfied that I was a dealer of this kind of crazy shit, and I was trying to get a response from him.
Right.
But that was one of the crazy stories. BTK called the cops on my ass.
That is, oh my God.
I've got to do your marketing, sir. I've got to do your marketing. I promise. Manson's afraid of you, and BTK's got a moral complex.
Right.
I'm telling you, this is gold.
Yeah, I can see it now though. He contacted the feds. This crazy fuck that's killed like 48 people. Contacted the feds and about some dude that wrote him a letter in Florida and was like, dude, man, this dude in Florida is kind of fucked up. You might want to go down there and like check this guy out. He could be a serial killer. So yeah, BTK is a buffoon. Whatever.
All right, real quick. We're going to switch gears in a minute and move over to Sophia. But I want to ask you real quick before we switch gears. What has been your most prized possession that you've either obtained for yourself or you have obtained and turned around and sold?
Please tell me it's the nipple belt. Please tell me it's the nipple belt.
I would have to say it's probably. Oh, my dog's going off.
That's all right. My dogs do the bark.
I would say it would have to be any, and I've had a few. Let me let him kind of settle down. We might have to go. Any.
It's fine. It's fine.
I would say any painting by John Wayne Gacy, any Pogo the Clown painting. I've had 3 or 4.
Oh, really?
Maybe the last 10 years. So I would say, yeah, my prized possessions have been my Gacy paintings.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And sorry about my dog.
No, don't worry about it, dude.
We were having the same issue before we come on and yelling at our
Yeah.
dog, so.
Yeah, exactly. We all have a dog, and mine's Chewy. He's a 7-pound Yorkie that will yap his head off.
And I've got 3 dogs here. So
He
I've got
hates-
two.
He hates Amazon He hates Amazon deliveries, and we have 12 of them a day.
Yeah, I've got 2 Australian Shepherds and a Chihuahua. So the Chihuahua doesn't know that he's not as big as the 2 Shepherds, but he'll
Right.
bark at the air if he could see it.
Right.
Hey, Eric, hang out with us, man. Through
Okay,
the
all
interview.
right.
It was
Okay.
fantastic to have you come on and talk. And everybody who's watching this, I want everybody to know this really quick. I've been working so hard to make this happen for over a decade. I'm honored that Eric finally graced my podcast presence. So thank you so much.
Oh,
It
man,
really
dude,
truly
dude.
means a lot, bro.
There will probably be many more. Very cool.
Well, we
I
appreciate it.
I will
And I
end
know-
my.
And I
I'll let
know
my-
this, man. If I was ever in an intensive care unit, you would bring me Burger King. I know this for a
Dude,
fact.
I was just gonna say, dude, be careful when you're on ladders, okay?
Exactly, brother. Exactly. It's a very inside joke between the two of us. Sorry, we're not telling
Gotcha.
everybody. You know, but it's hilarious.
Gotcha.
So,
We'll tell. I guarantee
Hey,
you,
go ahead and
a
let's
future
introduce,
podcast.
Sophia
with-
here.
Yeah, but let's do that. Switch gears. Oh, by the way, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, and the 18 other platforms that we are on, and you want to see the interview and some of the stuff that we talk about, go to the Fat Thor Podcast on Facebook, and you can watch this podcast in the entirety, all the videos and stuff, and anything that we pop up on here. If you're like, I can't see it, but that's where you find it, Fat Thor Podcast. But
And
let's switch.
Go buy some serial killer merchandise on Serial Killer Inc. too, and go
Exactly.
Eric Holler, absolutely.
Exactly.
You can
Good.
have a nipple belt.
And I do want to end mine with. I guarantee you, in a future podcast, we will get into the whole ladder Burger King ICU thing. that story is fucking unreal.
It's gold, man. It's so fucking hilarious, man.
Oh my gosh.
Real quick, this happened to me and Eric over 10 years ago, and we still laugh about it. There'll be months go by, and one of us will send each other a message regarding that situation, and it'll turn into like 40 minutes worth of back and forth on Messenger because we're still dying laughing at this dumbass story. It's hilarious.
Good shit. Good shit.
Well, our other guest who's been sitting patiently by Eric actually owns Zone 13 Tattoo in Township, New Jersey. She owns a haunted tattoo shop, which is just on Ghost Nation on the Travel Channel a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was season 3, episode 1. She is here to talk about her experience of having a haunted tattoo shop and all
being
about
a
that.
tattoo artist.
And being a tattoo artist. So welcome to the show, Sophia Wescott.
She's also a collector of oddities. This is kind of how we have the two of them together. So,
Right.
kind of a callback to Richard Ramirez, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome Sophia Wescott to the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So, Sophia, I watched the Ghost Nation episode earlier today. This is a great episode. So, how did you tell a little bit of backstory for people who haven't watched it? How did you obtain a haunted tattoo shop?
Well, when we bought it back in 2014, we didn't know it was haunted. You know, it's not like I go hunting haunted tattoo shops and say, I'm going to buy that place.
Right.
So about a week after we started construction, shit just went south. From the minute everybody was coming in and moving floorboards and painting walls. It just wound up just being nutty. And we kind of thought we were a little crazy. We started to think, okay, maybe it's something going on in here. Maybe there's a gas leak. Maybe there's maybe it's the electricity. It's not working right. We walked around, couldn't find anything. It went on for a while. We got opened October 1st of 2014. And things got quiet, and we said, all right, maybe it was just a little residual energy popping up from, doing construction. Everybody knows about that. You do construction, things happen. Sometimes they go away. In our case, they didn't go away. They got worse.
Right.
And like I said, I'm not here to make anybody be a believer or non-believer. That's not my job. I'm just telling you my experiences as a tattoo artist in a shop that's haunted. We wound up having some issues in the very, very beginning where customers were getting scratched, they were getting tripped, they were getting pushed. And we kept it quiet for a very long time. We were afraid of losing business. I've lost artists because artists are so afraid to work in there when they get touched or grabbed or pulled or shoved, and they say, "I can't do this shit no more." They're out.
Wow.
They've quit on the spot and had appointments and said, "I can't work in here anymore." So it kind of got to be a little bit of a business problem than it was anything else. So I wound up calling in a team called New Jersey Rope. Those guys are phenomenal. I trust them wholeheartedly, and they're a resolution team. So when I first met them, I said, "Hey guys, listen, I own a tattoo studio in town. I'm a business owner. I have a fucking problem."
Right.
And they decided to come out, and they said, "All right, let's see what's going on here. Let's see if it really is something, if it's nothing." And I said, "Fine." I said, "I don't want you to come in and tell me it's haunted. I want you to tell me it's not haunted.
Right.
I'm crazy."
Right.
So they came in, and within 5 minutes, the lead investigator comes out and he says, "Holy shit, you didn't tell me you had this many people here." I said, "Well, I didn't know," and his whole team, there were about 10 of them the first time. They've come back since and investigated multiple times. Every time they come out, it's like new people are there. We have a ton of different spirits. We found out that they are all highly intelligent, which is kind of cool because you can kind of coexist with them, if that's the word you want to use. It's gotten worse, but now it's gotten better because we know who we're dealing with for the most part. We know how to lay ground rules. But yeah, it's been pretty rough the past couple of years working in the shop, and when you can't see something, I think that's more fearful than when you can see something.
Right. Well, yeah, like on the episode I saw, and it said, you had people that you were tattooing, and they saw like a little girl for a second, turn their head and turn back, and is gone.
Oh yeah, there have been multiple clients that I have not personally seen her, but there have been multiple clients that didn't even know the shop was haunted and had said something to me like, "I didn't know you had kids." I said, "I don't have kids." And they would turn around and say, "Well, who's the little girl?" And I'm like, oh, she's like the neighbor's kid or something. I would make shit up because I didn't want them being afraid to come back.
Right.
We've had the little girl. We have children that run up and down the floor constantly. You can hear them as you're sitting there tattooing through my machine running. You'll hear footsteps. You'll hear balls bouncing. You'll hear guys. We have a dude that's in there, and he likes to go up to especially the males that come in, and he say, "What's up?" Like just, "Hey, I'm here, check me out."
And this is all during the day.
Oh, this is day, night, weekends, holidays. It doesn't matter. It's all day long.
Holidays.
Holidays, yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, it is.
Well, they take the holidays off,
Right.
What was the building prior to you, purchasing it as a tattoo place?
But there were two places, right? They came to one. Is that right? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So a couple things that we didn't put on live air with Ghost Nation, but the two buildings that were brought together, the small house that I think they called House A, that was built in the 1950s. That had a single owner from what we know and what I've researched. The second house was actually brought over from up the street from where our location is now, and the guy who brought it over was an architect. He actually married those two buildings together. So I didn't know this at the time. I just thought somebody had done construction, built off of it, put an addition on. I actually wound up stalking out the guy who owned it previous to me, and I called him and I said, "Hey, I might sound crazy. I don't care if you're a believer or not, but I need to know what's going on with this building. Like, how did it become what it was? How did you put it together?" And he told me everything from start to finish. He was an architect. It was cheaper to pick up a building, move it, put it together, and there you go. Now we have Zone 13. But what was interesting was today, I just actually met, and this is new evidence, I just met from Ghost Nation, a guy saw the show, and his wife came in to get tattooed by me. She brings her husband. Her husband just happens to be the son of the guy who used to own the second building.
Oh.
He came in today, and I gave him the tour, and he says, wow, this is where my dad's office was. This is where my dad was a prankster. He liked money. He liked to try to take people's wallets. And I thought, holy shit, that we do have a ghost that likes to pickpocket male clients.
Really?
And I said, yeah.
I like how he's like, he's a prankster. He likes to take people's wallets. It's like,
Yeah,
It was really me.
And that's a misdemeanor. That's not prank. That's a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, I mean, it was fascinating, and he was almost choked up, and he says, he goes, my father loved this place. He lived for this place, and now that's a good possibility of who else we could have there. He said, and I didn't even say anything. He goes, my dad used to always say, what's up, when I would come and ask for my check, and I said, damn, that's crazy. There's a dude here that says, what's up, to a lot of people.
Right.
And, so now we're starting to get more information. But as the buildings were brought together, our investigators had said to us that they think there's a good possibility we have a dually haunted location, which is kind of cool because it's not just a haunted house, it's multiple entities and it's multiple people there. So we always like to joke and say there's no more vacancies because we have so many.
Right.
You know what's cool though, whenever they were doing that show, behind the scenes, they found out that one of the families, remember they were talking about the families?
Oh, yeah.
A family of clowns that lived in that property.
Yeah.
A family of clowns.
The Cunard family.
Family of clowns.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Canards. That was on that episode, right? That was on the episode. The Canards.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, but we would just happen to be watching the episode with my parents, and they said, "Oh, they were a family of traveling clowns." And we said, "What?" We all turned like, it's funny, but it's not funny. But at the same time, it kind of makes sense now as to why certain things happen when they do. But the place is off the hook. We've always said that, like, I've been getting a lot of crazy ass emails from different people all over the world that saw this episode. And, you get the good people that are like, hey, that's awesome. You get the ones that are like, oh my God, you worship Satan. And I'm like, well, sometimes, just sometimes, But, they tell me, oh, get rid of all the shit that you have in there and get rid of the Ramirez, and it's them. And I don't even respond back to them because they're not worth my time or energy. But one thing I will say is that it was never anything that was in the building before we bought it. That building was vacant. There was not even a single floorboard in that building when we first got it. It was an as is. It was foreclosed on. The place was a shithole. And we made it to what it is today. But, I have to explain to these people, it doesn't have anything to do with any of the relics that are in there. I mean, we have everything from real human skeletons, down to oddities from all over the world that tend to, maybe draw some energy, but that has nothing to do with it. I don't even think it's actually the building. I think it's the property and it's the ground that it's on.
Right. So what was the ground again?
I just want to say this. As a comedian, that is now on my bucket list, is to meet a family of clowns.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll meet some.
I never knew that existed, and now I need that in my life.
That wasn't on the episode. That tidbit was not on the episode at all. I watched it.
I mean, I would love to go to family reunions and hang out with like the alcoholic side of that family. That right there, that's what I want to do.
Right. Well, let me ask this question, because I was, and no offense to Ghost Nation, no offense to anybody. Obviously you learn to coexist with them, and that was kind of thing when they walked away. They're like, "Oh, we just told them to coexist." I was a little disappointed in that. I was like, "What? Really?"
All right, so the deal is that I'm learning a lot about spirits and entities, as it progresses, because I want to make sure that everybody's safe. I want to make sure I'm safe, any employees that I have are safe, the customers are safe.
Because you're using needles. You're using needles on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you get scared and jump, somebody's getting slit.
Exactly. And or if the customer gets scared and they jump, oops.
Now you're the serial killer, burying people under the house, under the shop, and then Eric selling the crap and selling body parts because they were tattooing. And I mean, this could go on forever.
We've exposed their ruse.
Yeah, you got us. No, I mean, coexisting, at first I was like, you're fucking nuts. Like, I don't want to live in here. But they weren't the first team to tell us. Actually, our paranormal investigators, he said, look, they're human spirits. They're intelligent. He goes, talk to them. He says, I know you're going to sound crazy. He says, but he says, if I told you, you know what, get the fuck out of my house, you're going to get a little flip and you're going to say, I ain't going nowhere. Call the cops.
Right.
So we kind of have to think of it along those terms that, okay, they lived once. Ghosts were humans too.
Mm-hmm.
They might not even know they're dead. We don't know anything about the paranormal. We don't know anything about how spirits come about and why they're there. It doesn't necessarily mean that they died a horrible death or that they have something they still have to get done. Some people just like to hang around because they just like a place or they like an area or they like seeing people.
I would just be keeping an eye on my wallet, knowing what I know about that other guy. Is all I
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to pay you in Venmo before I come get my tattoo, and I'm going to leave my wallet somewhere else. I mean, what else is there to do? I mean, come on. Well, yeah, because, when they were talking about the building and everything, and then the guy was sitting on the pew, he goes, well, this pew probably came from some church. It's probably got stuff attached. I was like, dude, y'all just said there's like multiple ghosts everywhere. I'm like, I'm pretty sure in New Jersey, I've been to New Jersey. I've got friends in New Jersey. There's hundreds of years of stuff in those buildings being older. I was like, it ain't the pew.
No,
it's not the pew.
No,
it's not the pew.
It's not. It's not the pews. It's not the damn. And that's why I laugh when people, like I said, I'm getting these crazy ass emails, and I'm like, people, it's not the fucking shit in the shop, man. Like it's the building, it's the ground, it's multiple. They're all different. From what we can tell, they're from all different eras.
Right.
Like I said, we have some. This could go all the way back to the 1700s. We don't know yet. We're still doing research.
Right. Now y'all pinned what, like 1915, and just before that, correct?
Yeah, apparently the Historical Society pins about 1700s, like 1780s, 1930s.
Okay.
And we do have a guy, like, when Tango was sitting on the pew, he came out and said to me, he goes, look, I heard him, like, right there in my face. And I said, dude, this is what happens here. Like, it doesn't matter. And he goes, it was actually very moving and very emotional for me. And I said, well, I'm glad that you were able to have that interaction like we do on a daily basis. And we do kind of think that it might be one of the guys that they did mention. It could be. It could not be. We don't know.
Yeah.
We're still researching it daily.
And take him home with you.
No, they're not from home. No. I already got one. I don't need more.
We're actually going on Halloween. We're going to spend the night at the shop, and I want to bring a Ouija board, but she won't let me. Dude, I would so love to bring a Ouija board.
Oh, you're asking for trouble now. You're asking for. You're asking for trouble. Well, talk about believers. All right, my wife was not a believer. In our last podcast, my wife. Now here's the thing. I'm going to give you a little quick backstory. Me and my wife have been married for 2 years. We literally dated for 6 months before we got married. This is both our second marriage. And I'm a big believer in the paranormal, ghosts. I had experiences when I was 15. I've studied religion and all that. I was going to be a preacher. I've studied paranormal, so I see it from both angles. And I'm very open to it. And I've always taught her the stuff. I was showing her the stuff, about Ed and Lorraine Warren and everything, and walking her down the path of haunted ghosts. And she goes, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. Well, last year, she went up to her office in Ohio. She travels all over the country. And they said, hey, we've had a weird thing going on here in the office. And she's like, okay, what? And they were like, somebody breaking in. Because what she does, I can't really say what she does and who she works for. It's a global company, but they get in their building. There's no windows. You have to have it's like the CIA. You have to have a key card to go through multiple doors. They have security checks, all this stuff. So there's no way light infraction or anything can get in there. And they said, we got something to show you on video. Here's the video.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Check it out.
Tell me what you see.
Well,
just watch it. Just watch it. Just watch it.
Hang on just a second. I've seen this video like 15 times.
Now, these cameras do not go off or start recording until there is movement, physical movement in the building. These are high-tech cameras. You can see all the cubicles in the office, and I'm going to play it one more time. It only starts if there's movement.
I'm going to get a beer. Do it again. I'm going to get a beer.
But after she saw this, she was like, she called me. She goes, and they let her have it. She goes, my husband's going to hate me, or I'm going to hate my husband because now I don't know what else to say. I mean, they have explored this to the nth degree, and they can't explain it other than they said where the building is in a cornfield in Ohio, and possibly there was a Indian burial ground there at one point.
That's what actually that's all of Deptford, New Jersey, where my building is located. It's all Indian burial grounds. We run 55. I'm sure you heard of Route 55. It's one of the deadliest roads in the country, and that pretty much runs right diagonal to where we are. Now, I saw exactly what she saw. At first, I thought, okay, maybe it's a cobweb. I always try to debunk everything that happens.
Exactly.
But that is just a little too, a little bit too much motion, unless you had a really good graphics guy on there and making some crazy stuff. But like you said, if she works in a high-tech place, they're not going to have that. That's something that's just going to happen. Well, and you can actually see legs.
Yeah, and it moves in 3 different speeds. It moves, it hangs out. It moves, it hangs out, it moves, and then it moves with a quickness across the camera, like going to the break room.
Yeah.
We watched this the other day, and I told Andy, I said, this is what I think it is. It's a level of purgatory where somebody just comes back in the afterlife and has to be working in some fucking office. And they can't leave. They go to the break room.
Think about this. So if it is an Indian from back hundreds of years ago, and now he's stuck in a cubicle, I'd be pissed too. Okay?
Yeah, you know what?
I'd be pissed too.
His name is How Does This Shit Work?
I mean, he's used to horses and bows and arrows and outdoors, and he's like, what? He is in hell.
He don't want to call his buddy Chief what the fuck. What the fuck?
Yeah, no. He is in hell. He is in hell. And he's pulling the night shift.
Yeah.
You guys should send that to some of the shows.
Well, they can't because it's actually, I'm surprised they let her have it. They said she could have it, and I actually had to ask her permission. Like, can we put it on here? Can we put it on the podcast? She's like, yeah, she can put it on the podcast. And she actually came on. I made her come on and physically introduce it. So I'm out of litigation. I am out. It's not on me.
Hey, so do you guys have any cameras in the shop that y'all?
Yeah, that's what I was.
And pick
yeah.
up?
So I have a 16 camera system along with 2 Ring cameras, which pick up motion.
Right.
Yep.
So when I first installed the Ring camera, which I actually called the Ghost Cam because shit was just starting to move.
Right.
My tray, my mayo tray that I put my paper towels and my Vaseline on, it would be in the middle of the floor. And I'm like, that did not roll that far. I didn't leave it there. So I finally put in a Ring camera, and the minute I put it in, about a month or 2 later, started getting alerts, 2 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, 7:30 a.m. And it still does it. And I have to literally put my phone on silent at night because it just goes off all night long. So I've always tried to see if I can see a shadow or a kind of some kind of energy or lights. Many times we've picked up bright lights that flash, and we're like, there's no way, because our windows are always closed. I close them at night. I close the blinds. There's nothing else in there that has a light that flashes. They tend to turn on my autoclave room door light. They open the door and they turn on the light. That was a fun one. During COVID, we weren't
What?
there as much interacting. Oh yeah. Like I said, the more we have them, the more we have the building. I guess the stronger they get. They can open doors now. They mess with my autoclave door, which sounds like if everyone knows an autoclave, it's a sterilizer. So
Okay.
you'll hear that grinding noise of the metal, and there's
Right.
nobody in the room, and it's not moving on its own. It just can't. It's impossible. We've had it where you'll catch like a small glimpse of something, but I think what happens is those cameras are on a delay. So it's already, like you said, it picks up motion. It's already moving past it, and then the
Right.
camera comes on and picks it up, and it's already moved past it.
Right,
So I
gotcha.
have deer cams out there on different chairs. I look like a hunter. People are like, "Oh, I didn't know you hunted." I said, "A little bit." Just trying to catch something because there's something
little
causing motion. At first,
Right.
I tried to debunk it. I thought we had a mouse in the shop.
Right,
There's
right.
there's no mouse. I've had exterminators that
Right.
there's nothing in here.
Let me ask you this. Does your neighbors in adjoining businesses or around you have any issues with anything like this?
None, not a single issue. Because I have a big. It's a scale place that they do large scales for like trucking companies and whatnot,
Right.
and they have huge bays that are next
Right.
to my building. And I've gone over and said, "Hey, listen, I'm your neighbor next door.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm gonna sound crazy, but you guys got anything weird happening here?" And they say nothing. Like
It's
either
like
we
that.
just
It's
don't
like that
listen.
scene. It's like that scene in Poltergeist when they get the neighbors and they're slapping the mosquitoes. You know?
Yeah.
And
Hey,
Nothing wrong here.
right. Nothing wrong here.
Yeah.
We're all good.
And the other question I have is, did this start happening once Eric showed up, or no?
Fuck yeah. No,
Uh,
no.
No.
Nah, but but I believe I
Yeah.
just watching this episode before talking to you and everything, and after what they were finding, I was like, it's the buildings, bro. It's the buildings and the land.
it is.
It's nothing with what she has in there. But to segue back to what Eric says, that's kind of how you guys met, right?
Yeah.
So
I
how
didn't
did
know.
that so you've got some stuff of his that you bought in the tattoo parlor.
Oh yeah, his underwear, his
Oh, his are the panties.
Yeah, she was originally she was a customer. She bought the Richard Ramirez butcher knife piece from me. That's how we met. And it's funny because the show they were wanting to interview me, and they were wanting me to be a part of the show for the Ramirez piece, but
Right.
I didn't want to dishonor Ramirez and have, because like she said, it's not coming from. I'm a skeptic, but even if there was something there, it's not coming from anything she has in the
Right.
shop.
Right.
And so that they were wanting to really kind of dig into the Ramirez and kind of have that possibly a part of the show.
Right.
They did show the one shot of it, but I shot that down, and I was like, I'm not going to be a part of.
Right.
anything. I didn't want to dishonor Ramirez because it has nothing to do with him. And
Right.
Them kind of assumed that it did have something to do with him when it didn't. But that's how we met. She was a customer. She bought that piece, and long story short, here we are now. So
In Disneyland.
In
yeah.
Disneyland.
See you at Disneyland.
So let me ask this: since you said you're going to hang out in the shop on Halloween.
Yes.
Okay, no Ouija board, and obviously you were trying to catch this stuff. Now y'all gonna set up cameras and just record all night and and do EVPs, or are y'all gonna just? I mean, I'm just curious.
She has cases downstairs that's labeled paranormal investigation instruments. Yeah, cameras, recorders.
Sweet.
Yeah, actually, honestly, a lot of the stuff that I've always captured, I bought a little Sony recorder, and I just lay them in different areas of the shops at different times of day, different times of the year, and I just let them run, and I say, hey, it's Sophia, I'm at Zone 13, it's this time of night, I'm going to drop the recorder, and I put it down, and I sit and I listen through hours of footage just to hear, anything that's out of the ordinary. So that's how I caught. They actually caught it. They did show it. They thought I was a little crazy when I said I have a guy that whistles. He whistles all the time. And they caught him. They caught some bells in the basement, which usually it sounds like jingles of keys, but whatever they caught was a little bit different. All the voices, we catch footsteps, we catch slaps, taps, bangs. We even have some kind of little drummer in there. You know, he drums a lot middle of the night, usually 2, 3 in the morning. You know, so we get a lot of craziness. And
well, that's a typical drummer. That's a typical drummer anyway.
I got 2 questions, one for each of you. Eric, since you've been up there, have you seen anything that made you question where you prior, said, I don't really believe in any of this, that you kind of scratched your head and said, maybe I should rethink this? That's your question, and then I'll let you answer, and then I'll go stuff.
Okay, no, we were up there the other night, and Sophia was downstairs taking care of things. I went up into the library, which is the second floor, which is supposedly where the little kids play.
Mm-hmm.
I went up there, had all the lights out, sat up there, just messing around on my phone for a good 45 minutes. Not a single thing.
Really?
Yeah, okay. So that's why I told her, I was like, well, I'll tell you what, let's go back. Halloween, it's a full moon. It's on a Saturday night. It's gonna, if anything, if you're gonna make a believer out of me, let's go up there Halloween and let me experience it for myself. So.
We should take this camera and let them flip it around, and we'll live feed it through Fat Thor Podcast and just see what happens.
There you go.
Dude, fuck yeah.
And just see what happens.
And my question for Sophia is, Sophia, like before any of this happened, before you obtained this tattoo place and started working in this environment, did you have an interest in this sort of situation, and if you did anything compare to what you're experiencing now?
So I was always a believer of the paranormal. I mean, there's too much evidence that too many people have cell phones now, have cameras on buildings that, like, your wife's place.
Right.
You can't, justify and say, oh, that didn't happen. Well, something happened. I don't know if it was man-made or what, but there's too many things that happen in the world that we just can't explain. So yeah, I was a believer of the paranormal. I used to watch a lot of shows, so that's why I learned about debunking things and making sure that I wasn't crazy. And if I heard a little knock, I didn't automatically think it was a ghost. I figured, all right, the building is settling or whatever.
Right.
But I never had an actual personal experience until I bought the shop, and that was the whole reason that at first I thought, wow, like maybe there's some kind of weird EMF spikes, or maybe it's the electrical. It's an old building. Maybe there's something that's causing us to feel a little nauseous or feel weird or leave there with headaches or feel drained. And then when we started to see things, and then the customers, they started to every other person was like, man, I thought I just saw something. And I'm like, you're crazy. Like, no, you're under stress, But no, this is the first time that I can I used to try that too. But it is what it is. And honestly, this is the first time that I can honestly say that, holy fuck, I am truly a believer now, because I deal with it every day.
Right. So that's so crazy. You never had any experience until now, until
Nothing.
You're in that build. My first one was when I was 15, and I saw a silhouette of a guy running across my buddy's backyard at 6 a.m, and his mom, who comes to find out is an acclaimed practicing witch, goes, "Oh, you saw the guy, the Civil War guy?" And I was like, "What?" I mean, I thought it was the guy hunting.
Let me tell you what that was, man. That was your best friend's mom having some sort of Civil War sort of fetish, and he was just going home at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, it wouldn't surprise me. Just saying.
The South rose again, and now we got to go home before Daddy gets home.
Yeah. It was weird. And he was moving with a quickness. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying the sun will rise again. He's got to get home before daylight.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. He didn't seem fully dressed.
Well, that's
I'm just saying.
Hey, Eric, you'll like this, man. This is what I've always said about ghosts. I've always said, like, for instance, I've never seen an apparition, But I always wonder, like, if people who always are saying they see these ghosts in long flowing gowns or old suits, it's like, did their clothes die too? Like,
Right.
like, cause what if you died like in 1986 and you were wearing a members only jacket and afterlife?
Man.
You walking around in that in the afterlife with flybacks and a mullet or something, you know?
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Always be aware what you wear, because if you die in it, you're coming back in it.
Well,
Be careful.
There's some jackass in 1977 wearing a white polyester suit that honks somebody, and nobody
Right.
takes him serious.
Again, exactly. It's in ladies, yoga pants. We don't need ghost camel toes. No ghost camel toes, ladies. No haunting the camel toe.
35 years later, that's the description of a ghost. It's like they're in yoga pants and they're not wearing a bra. You know?
I swear to God, I saw a camel toe. I swear to God, I saw a camel toe. Swear to God. The camel toe floated by with no legs. But I saw the Uggs. And I smelled pumpkin spice. Swear to God, smelled pumpkin spice, Uggs, camel toe. Saw it.
The ghost of Karen. She honked a Walmart or a bank parking lot.
Yes, she was complaining about some goddamn Kohl's Cash bullshit.
You guys got my stomach hurting. Damn.
I told you you'd have fun, Eric. I told you.
Right on.
Oh, well, hey, I'm going to share your page, Zone 13 Tattoo Studio. So everybody who's watching, if you're on Apple Podcasts, again, you'll have to just come to Fat Door Podcast and check this out. But Zone 13 on Facebook. Go check them out, follow Sophia, and then
Go get some ink, man. If you're up in
go
the
get some
New
ink
Jersey area,
in New Jersey. Yeah, and speaking of that, I saw some of your pictures. You do a lot of really cool, detailed stuff, black and whites, watercolors, and things like that, which are really cool. You're one of those tattoo studios I would put on my list to travel to get a tattoo.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I do everything. I do every style. You know, you have to
What's
in
your
this business.
specialty,
You gotta,
Sophie?
actually,
What's
I don't
your
have one.
specialty?
I mean, if you had to ask me what I like the most, black and gray.
Well, I mean, I know some people are good
Yeah.
like photorealism. Some people are good in pop art. Some people, you know.
No, I've actually taught myself to work in every style because
Good,
you have
good.
to grow with the growing of the times. I can't just do traditional. I can't just do color. I can't
Sure.
just do Asian American.
Right.
I have to do everything because that's what the clients want. You know, one client comes in and wants
Damn
a
right.
portrait of
Right.
what Eric got, from the Killers album. Another person comes in and wants cute little flowers. And
Everything that I've seen Eric post that you've done has been like total fire, man. That Iron Maiden Killers is great.
thank you.
What was the one you got on your hand? You got one on your hand.
Baphomet.
Yes, Baphomet. That's right.
Baphomet.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was so fucking cool, man. So,
Dude, that red
unbelievable
piece, man,
work.
that red
Thank
piece
you.
hurt like nothing I've ever
Oh,
experienced before.
yeah, dude.
That pain is crazy pain, man. But it's there
Can you
forever.
show it
It's
right now?
gorgeous. So,
Hey, let's
You
not
wanna
get
show it
naked
off?
just yet. Go ahead, show it. If he wants to show it, show it.
Take it off.
Show it. Show it.
Yeah, check this shit
Show
out, man.
it.
This is rad. He's wearing an Iron Maiden shirt already. Look at this.
Holy crap. There's a lot.
Dude,
Holy.
that-
How long did it take to do that?
9 hours. It was
9 hours.
Okay, I was about to ask. They couldn't have done that in one sitting. That was a 3. So you did. Go ahead and put that back on.
Three sittings, 3 hours each, and after each sitting, man, I would just be I would just be dead. It hurts so fucking
And
bad.
I'll tell you this, man. And seeing it online and then seeing it like when you stood up.
Yeah, dude, that's very detailed.
When you stood up, it's so much larger looking on the side of your chest than it was on the pictures. I mean, I think
It's
I can cut
huge.
out. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
But
you're
it
cutting
looked.
out, right?
I mean, that's a big piece of work, dude.
It's my entire
Every
fucking
show I
rib page
cut
on the
out.
side.
What the fuck?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me
we can
now?
hear you fine. Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay.
We can hear you fine. Yeah, we can hear you fine. Yeah. No, it was. That's big. That's a lot of detail in that thing.
Yeah.
Woo!
Great jobs. every time somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey man, I like your tattoos," I always go, "I didn't do them." Don't thank me. I didn't do them.
Right.
You guys come up, see a haunted tattoo shop, and get a piece of ink, man, and do a show.
Yeah, man, I will. Dude, we'd love to do a show from the shop.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. We're actually going to come up to New Jersey and do a podcast at the Smod Castle, Kevin Smith's Smod Castle in Red Bank. Coming up. We're just waiting for him to open it up. When we're up in Red Bank, we will definitely come down and get some ink. I promise you, Eric.
Yeah.
I promise you so.
Yes.
Yeah,
we'll definitely. We're going to do a New Jersey tour because I got friends down in Denellen and up in Easton, PA, which is over the bridge from you guys, I think, or because you're on the northern side, right?
Southern.
Yeah.
Southern. Oh no, you're on the southern side. Southern, because Denellen's out on the southern side. So we're going to do a tour of Jersey because I love pizza. I love New Jersey pizza. I love hanging out in New Jersey. I love the pork roll.
We're right by. We're 10 minutes from downtown Philadelphia, so I kind of consider this Philadelphia. So you have to come up here and get a cheesesteak.
See, that's it.
And also,
go ahead.
we're an hour and a half from Amityville.
No way.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You sold the quick stop in Red Bank, Amityville, Philly cheesesteaks. I'm in, dude. I mean, you didn't. You had
pork
me in
roll.
New Jersey, and nobody says that.
Pork roll. Yeah, nobody says that.
You had me in New Jersey.
You from Jersey? I'm from Jersey.
Jersey. Yeah, Jersey. Well, we're definitely going to put it up. We're definitely going to do it. We'll do a 3-4 day bang weekend up there, Smod, you guys, everything, and just do the circle and then come back. So definitely we'll be in touch with you guys. But we want to thank you. It's been an hour. We don't want to take up any more of your time.
Me and Eric are get matching intensive air unit tattoos for
We
another
could do that.
podcast.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So anything you've got special or coming up, Eric or Sophia, anything you want to talk about before we kind of land this plane and sign off?
Well, I tell you what, we're doing Saturday night at the shop on Halloween.
Right.
If anything, we'll have recordings. If anything comes up, we will let you guys premiere it.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
Thank you. Yes, we definitely, if anything, let us know.
Yeah.
Anything, we'll put it all together and we'll premiere it here and have a great time.
And I'm just so honored that I had Eric Holler on the podcast after about a decade of asking.
Dude, you're awesome.
You're welcome.
I give all the kudos to Sophia, actually, but dude, thank you so much, Eric. It's been a lot, brother. It's really good, dude.
Okay.
Dude, it's been great. And there's a ton more stories I know on the back end that we could just walk down for another episode. But I know I could just tell it. But we could, and we're not going to Rogan it tonight. We're not going to Joe Rogan it and do all that crazy. For Jesus, I don't know how.
Listen, we got to bring Eric back to tell this. Me and him got to tell this story on April 1st for April Fools because this is
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
We definitely will. We definitely will. But hey, go ahead, Eric.
That one story will take up the entire hour. That's how crazy and that's how involved it is.
Because we will bang on that story hard, dude. That'll be so funny, man.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys have been great. We want to thank. Hey, we also want to thank our sponsors of the show, Killer Finds and Hiram,
Georgia, man. Comics, records, video games, collectibles. Go out and like their Facebook page, or better yet, go out and see them in person. Michael owns the place, man. It's a family-owned business. It's right there off 4215 Junior Lee Smith Parkway in Hiram, Georgia, right next to Academy Sports. Free video games, man. Doesn't even cost you a quarter. You can play Donkey Kong like me for free at Killer Finds in Hiram, Georgia.
And don't forget, if you're needing roof or siding from the storms or anything, or remodeling the exterior of your house, call Falcon Exteriors in the Atlanta metro area, and they all will take care of you. Tell Tara and them that you heard it here from Rick and Eddie on Fat Thor Podcast and Power 108.9. Call them at 678-783-0123. They'll be at the top of the page. You can click and find them. Also, our guest links will be on our page as well. Eric's link as well as Sophia's link of Zone 13 Tattoo, so you can like and follow them if you're in the area. grab a
Yeah, please,
tattoo.
by all means, go like and follow them.
Exactly.
Absolutely, 100%.
Buy some memorabilia, and this
murderabilia. Go buy
murderabilia, murderabilia,
He's like, no, murderabilia.
murderabilia.
Murderabilia. Yeah.
I want the Ed.
Serial killers.
Exactly, the Ed Gein nipple belt specials. What I want. That's what I want.
That's what I want.
Hey, it's almost Christmas, Andy. So just hold it.
I know. Well, you guys have been great. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Hey, we'll be looking forward to hear what happens this Saturday from everything. We'll premiere it here, or we'll do a live feed. Whatever you guys want to do. I'm definitely 100% in on this and come to see you guys.
And just know this, Eric. If anything happens this weekend and you wind up in ICU, I'm bringing you Burger King, brother.
Yeah, of course. Dude, you guys are great, man.
Appreciate it. See you guys later. Y'all be good.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yep.